Yeah, okay. So let's start. So last week we started recovery procedures and step by the what are the recovery options, final options we came, uh, exit strategy, what are the legal actions we can take. So we discussed a number of legal actions step by step, and we discussed about mediation board, how to go to mediation board, and what is the procedure of mediation board. Then we discussed another option available for us, but most of the institutions and bankers are not using that. That's going for arbitration, commercial arbitration. So that was available for us for our. So, next option we are going to have is going for filing action in the court of law. So we last week discussed about going to courts as a criminal case. That's the magistrate courts. To magistrate courts, we can file action only on one instance only available at the moment. That is go for TR facilities. The TR facilities defaulted is treated as breach of trust is a criminal offence. Under that, we can file action straight away at the magistrate courts. We discussed last week how we have to go for legal action, file a complaint at the police that about the customer or the breach the trust. The customer will arrest the borrower or the importer, and police will file action. We have to proceed with the giving evidence and proving the case. Again, we discussed TR facilities for also available for local TRs. That is, local TRs are used instead of pledged loans. Right? So we can buy producers from a manufacturer or a supplier or a farmer and give back to customer on a trust, sell and give back the money. So that's the TR facilities how we can use. Right, now we are going to enter most commonly what use are legal action taking in a civil case. Normally all the banking acts are considered as a civil case. Under civil law only this will be discussed. We have option, basically we have to start with the lowest one is district courts. The district courts. We file action in the district courts. How to file a district court, what are the action available to file at the district court, we'll discuss it lengthily. Basically, it's very common is going to district courts. All we know that it's not an easy job. It's a long procedure and cumbersome. Step by step, we'll see how we file a legal action at the district courts and how to file a legal action at the district courts. So when we discuss about the legal action at the district courts, we find that different procedures are there. Basically, hypothetical action, one of the actions, hypothetical action, as given the note, that is called mortgage action. We normally call as a mortgage action. What's mortgage action, right? And next one is filing action under money action. Normally it's called as the legal professions as summary proceedings, legal action under district courts. Then we have to can file action in the district courts under Debt Recovery Act number 2 of 1990. As civil procedure code. Yeah. Under the civil procedure code as well as under civil procedure code as well as Debt Recovery Act. There are two different legal actions can be taken at the district office, district courts. Basically, we are now very commonly know the legal action going under civil procedure code, chapters 2 to 5, how to file action. But first we'll discuss how to file action in the court of law and what is the procedure. Before that, when it comes to Mortgage Act, Hypothecary Act, It will discuss a little later. So I will go to the slides to discuss. Right. When you go for legal action, basically, whatever legal procedure we discussed last week, that action start with the sending a letter of demand. If it's parade, we said it's sending a final notice. If not, we're going for courts, we have to send a what you call letter of demand, LD. So we discuss why we send a letter of demand, purpose of letter of demand, and how the importance of the letter of demand. So letter of demand is demanding the customer to pay entire facility falling in due. Otherwise, he is liable to pay only what is outstanding, not in the full amount. When it goes to defaulted NPA, transfer NPA, so we have to claim entire amount. Therefore, it has to be demanded for the customer. So that's why we are sending a letter of demand. If customer responds to a letter of demand, then we proceed with the negotiation. That means customer is coming forward to do some negotiation without going courts. But if the customer neglect the letter of demand and if not answered within 14 days, then you cannot waste time. Immediately you shall go for action. For that we have to get ready. How to get ready? Right? We'll start with the steps. First step is sending the letter of demand. Can you see? I'll try it here. No? Yes, here. Go for there. First thing is going for first one, letter of demand. Sending the letter of demand. I'll actually start with the letter of demand. After sending letter of demand, if the customer not respond for the letter of demand, then we have to start the initial action. First, the second step is to go for any action, we have to get the board approval. That is board resolution. Why we have to take a board resolution? Last week we discussed, even parade or whatever action, any recovery action, any legal action, any recovery legal action, there's no delegate authority for down the line except for the board of directors. Only the board of directors has the powers authority, any organization. That's why you put the board paper and get the board approval. So the board had approved to take the legal action. So we have to prepare a memorandum, memo has to be prepared and submitted. We have to get the approval for two things. Number one is file action proxy. We have to get a proxy for get approval for legal action. First is proxy. Proxy means appointing a legal officer, lawyer. The board have to appoint a legal officer, either our legal officers or external legal officer. So the entire case, the whoever given the proxy can go to the courts, nobody else. To represent ourselves, we are appointing a legal officer, attorney at law, that authority given by the board of directors by way of the proxy. Right? So proxy is to appoint a legal officer. The second step is to file action. We get the board approval for these two instances. Board approval for these two instances. Okay, first for proxy, then to file action. Then, board had to give the authority to file action in the district courts. Without that, we have no authority to go to take any action. Third step, after the proxy is signed, we have to prepare a plaint. Okay. We have to prepare a plaint. Not work go to Grand. Not work Sakaska. We have to tell the story. The plaint will be prepared by the lawyer who has given the proxy. We are authorized to do that, this proxy. That lawyer will have to prepare the plaint. Plaint being what the problem to be solved at the courts. That's called plaint. To prepare the plaint, we have to give a set of documents to the lawyer. Originals as well as photocopies, 3 copies or 5 copies in the depending case. What are the documents needed by the lawyers or the proxy lawyer to prepare the claim? Number one is the agreement. It can be overdraft, government overdraft, or a loan, the loan agreement. The very important part is this. Our agreement should be legally enforceable. This is the problem. Our loan agreement should be legally enforceable. What are the things to be included in the legal thing and in the agreement? Or agreement is at the time of granting the facility, this agreement is signed. Okay. Now we take this agreement for file action against the customer. So to take any money action, agreement is important because we are enforcing the agreement. In the money action, we are enforcing the agreement. The customer have accepted borrowing and that contract. It's a contract, law of contract. So agreement, we have to submit. Agreement has to be completed. It should be according to the civil procedure code, how it proceeded. That way it has to be prepared. Then it has to be signed by the borrower. You have to verify the signature of the borrower. At the time of granting the facility, you have to verify the signature of the borrower. Whether the signatures tally with our original other documents. The current account may be current account or savings account and the loan application. Sometimes you may find the signatures are differs. And when you go to these problems we come across. Right? If the signatures are differs, then the ball is in our court. Then we have to prove which signature is correct. If signature is correct, we have to prove it. Customer may challenge the signature, this is not my signature. So the proving of that signature is dependent on us. Therefore, at the time of granting the facility, the customer executed the document, it is a duty of the loan officer to put the small rubber stamp available in the bank, signature attested. You have a small round stamp, signature attested. Put the rubber stamp and initial by bank officer. That is accepted. That's that we have verified the signature at the time of granting the facility. You can't do it at a later on because it will be tested sometime. It will be challenged. So original document, signature has to be verified. Next one, the signatures has to be witnessed by two witnesses. Two people have to witness. Who are two people have to witness? Right? We have to take a person who can be produced to the court for giving evidence. Now, once you filed action, we have to call evidences. We have to forward evidences. So we have to call the witnesses. We have to call the witnesses. We have to say that in front of me, this person has signed this document. So witnesses have to come to courts, get into the bench, right? And we have to give swear and you say that we are giving truth that this person has signed in private person. That's a witness's job. You have to prove it at the signature in the courts. Now the problem is whom we are taking as witnesses. After 4 or 5 years later only we are going to courts. Sometimes you have the whereabouts of this person cannot be found. Then what will happen? We are losing points to win the case. Now, all these documents has to be proven in the courts. So witnesses should be there and we have to get the identity card number of the witness to identify. Normally, we call for a witness, officer grade person or not less than a clerk, that means staff assistant, not below that. That means you can go to courts and give evidence. Right? So the signature has to be verified at the time of granting facility, witnesses have to identify. So all these things has to be very important when you're going to find action at the courts. First one is the agreement. So agreement should be there. Any stamp duty has to be paid in the agreement. That stamp duty has to be paid according to the law. So we'll discuss later how the stamp duty has to be paid. According to stamp duty ordinance and subsequent amendments, Stamp Duty Act number 2008, it has been defined how to affix stamps and cancel the stamps. So it has to be in that manner. The correct stamps and the correct value of the stamps should be there. Right? If it's needed for the agreement, from time to time, this has been changing by the law. Right? Then secondly, we needed to forward all security documents. All security documents, original and their photocopies. What are the securities collateral taken and originals of these collaterals and the copies. Right? So agreement, that is the primary document for a loan. Then what are the securities we have taken into account? We are asking to enforce that security, support that security. Right? Now we have discussed earlier, when we take a tangible security, we can liquidate. By taking tangible security, we can liquidate and can take cash. Last session we discussed that. If you take an intangible security, that is guarantees and not enforceable, that those are not enforceable. So we have to call for the guarantors also. Right? In these securities, that we list of the names who are the guarantors also, file action against them also, including this. Right? Right. Then the security documents, what are the documents going to be enforceable? Third one is, the other important one is, to prove the case, that we have to prove that this person had taken the money. The customer had taken the money. How to prove that? We take normal, some documents, we take a receipt, we take receipt as acknowledgement. But we have to show that customer had taken the money. He have withdrawn the money. For that, we need to submit the entire ledger sheet. Okay, entire ledger sheet. On the day 1 to the day 5 action. Now, this is easy now. You can take a printout from the computer. Those days, of course, we are writing manually. So this printout has to be taken. Now, there's another problem with this printout. Sometimes, if you do any reversals or any corrections in the ledger, then we have to prove that in the courts. For example, in the ledger, you have made a mispost. Right? You have mispost here done and subsequently corrected. Now that appears in the ledger sheet. You can erase it. It is appear as it is. Now we have to prove at the courts this is a genuine error. It's not a fraudulent transaction. So why the lawyers of the defense lawyers will contest on that. He may say that I had deposited money. Bank had taken the money back. I don't know. So they have to prove that this is an erroneous transaction. So we have to prove that. In this case of practical, we have faced this type of problems. So we have to carefully handle whenever loan cases comes. The documentation is very, very important. The documents has to be true as the courts. Therefore, subsequently, so therefore we have to be very alert on that. So the ledger sheet is important and certified by the branch manager. Copy of the certified by the branch manager and attached to the instruction. Fourth one is the other important one. To prove the customer's commitment about he has taken the loan, and his commitments are the documents we need to prove are the correspondences. During the period from the day of granting the facility and thereafter till the customer defaulted, and after that we have written to the customers, reminders. Sometimes customer may have responded for those reminders. may not have reminded, responded. And sometimes you have made a visit to the customers and discuss with them as a customer. And you prepare a report, and sometimes customer may have endorsed that report. Those are important documents to prove that case customer commitment for the loan. It's the commitment for the loan. He had taken this loan. Okay, excuse me. Virginia? Oh. 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 Pin. Oh, pin. Oh, come on, go tell the Okay. Okay, sorry. So, to prove the customer commitments, we need the documents. Now, where these documents are kept in the bank or your organizations is the most difficult task. To search for the documents is very, very difficult because they have not been filed properly. Most of the instances we come across, when you going to file action, we don't have the correspondence to prove that customer's commitments about taking the loan, taking the money, and what his commitment that he'll be paying on such and such a date. Or I'll actually give me some time to pay. Likewise, customer may have sent some letters for us. Those letters are very, very important for us. Similarly, if you send a letter or reminder to customer, maybe the ordinary post or in the registered post, when it's returned back undelivered, any letter sent to the customer, returned back undelivered, right? The envelope is a very important document. Why? On the reverse of the envelope, the postman have endorsed that customer not accept the customer left the place or whatever. His comments are there on the endorsement on the envelope. So that envelope is very, very important to file action. That we have taken a correct action procedure to prove that he has not responded for us. Okay, so these are very vital documents. You neglect. You don't normally whatever you open the letter, throw the letter in envelope and only take the letter. No, envelope is very important. When it comes to return on the customer not accepted, when you return it, you take that also. Very important. Okay, so all these correspondence are where they are kept. Most of the you find this WBB department. All the correspondence are in the WBB department. Where is the WBB department? It's in the advance. Advance for whoever cleaning people. Right? Most of them are the waste paper basket. It is not properly filed. Therefore, very important thing. For any loan customer, there should be two files. One is security file, other one is correspondence file. Security file should be kept under fireproof cabinet, that is a safe or a chub. We call chub sometimes. People like to call this as a chub, the company name, or we call safety that we keep. Fireproof in the steel cabinet. That is safe. Correspondence file should be kept in a 4-drawer cabinet according to the name order, right? Alphabetical order or whatever the terminology order, and to kept it. All the correspondence should be filed in the document, right? Another important thing, it should not be that Mahadana Mutta's junk bag. All the junk are put in one bag, no? No, it has to be cleared frequently. Whenever new document comes, you may remove the old documents and destroy it. There are certain documents have prescription period. Any document which has been expired the prescription period, lapse of the prescribed period, is no value, legally no value. You can't file action. Therefore, we should know what are the prescriptive period for each and every document. For example, if it's a immovable property, legal action can be taken only within 10 years. After 10 years, it is prescribed. It is prescribed after that. That's why we are calling for title report for more than 15 years to find out any subsequent encroachments there. To find out that. Any contract, written contract, right? In parties are written contract, legal action should be taken within 6 years of the final. After lapse of the case, within 6 years, you have to take the legal action. So, for example, all agreement documents are contracts. So it is valid for, we can take legal action within 6 years only. After default, 6 years time. After that, you cannot take legal action because it is prescribed. Once it's prescribed, it has no legal value. Therefore, within the prescribed period, you have taken action. Thirdly, any letter, it is not an agreement, but any corresponding letter is for 3 years. It is valid only for 3 years. Within 3 years, that's what. When you are offering a TOD for a customer, you ask for a letter from the customer, request from the customer. For TOD, we ask that for request from the customer. That document, legally we can take action, legal action, within 3 years. After that, that also not correct. Then, if you don't have any documentary evidence, you have to take legal action within 1 year. Only within 1 year that prescribes. Sometimes you may find that we are granting in the name of TODs casual orders. That is, when the customer sending a check, right? Over the phone, he asks in the pay, or we ask from the customer, and we pay our own discretion that check. There's no documents whatsoever. Those are called casual orders. You can file action only within 1 year. After it's prescribed. So likewise, every document has a prescription period under prescription ordinance. So we should know these legal requirements. Okay, so all the correspondences should be filed in a separate file in a steel cabinet, and you have to update the file which is unnecessary, but after 1 year, 3 years expired, those are legal, you can't take action, remove it off. Otherwise, you lose a space, correspondence file. So it is very important. When you set up all these documents, 4 documents, set of 4 documents with their copies, you send to the lawyer, prepare the proxy. Put the lawyer to prepare the plaint. Once these documents are sent to the lawyer to prepare the plaint, he prepare the plaint and send back to the branch to file action. Right? The 4th is to file action. At district courts. File action at the district courts. That means this plaint and all the photocopies of the documents and original set, we have to hand it over to the registrar of the district courts on your judicial area, pay the stamp duty for that, and ask the registrar to file action. Okay, so this is the primary job when you go to start the legal action. Right. Once you given to the district courts, the registrar will issue notice. That notice we call summons. Issue summons to the defendant or the customer. Court will issue summons saying that so bank has filed action against you. These are the charges for you, and present at the court on such and such a day, and present your answer. Right? Come to present, and you have to give the time after you're presenting. He will be given time for presenting his answer. So this summons, issuing summons and the delivering summons is very, very crucial job. It is very, very difficult. Why? Till summons are delivered, action cannot be instituted. The parties has to be brought back to the courts. Otherwise, court can't go ahead. Now, how to do this? When file, the court has been filed, action has been filed, and summons are prepared by the courts and handed over to the fiscal of the courts, district court, fiscal. So fiscal will take the summons to the defendant or our customer, borrower, defaulter. If customer or the defaulter has to accept the summons to start action. More often, what happens? The defendant or the customer, he will not accept the summons. He refuses the summons. Sometimes you may find that fiscal goes and asks, Mr. Pereira in order. So he comes and tells, so fiscal come back to courts. Next hearing day, the summons day, then judge will ask whether the summons are delivered. So fiscal will answer saying that defendants not at home. Then pre-issue, pre-issue the summons. Court will order pre-issue. Another case is postponed for another 6 months. 6 months, so normally 4 to 6 months take every session. Postponed to 6 months. Then again, summons will be taken by the fiscal, try to deliver, he may not accept it. Sometimes he may give something to him, that's all. So he comes and tells to the court that whereabouts are not known. Likewise, 2-3 times, this drags. Now, what the action we have to take? Now, we also have to be interested in the case. We have to involve in this distribution, delivering of the summons. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Right? That means there are 2 ways. If it's 3 times, if we issue the summons, it has not delivered. So we can ask from the courts to send it by the registered post. We know that even sending by registered post, he will not accept the return back. And paste the summons in his premises, either wall or on a coconut tree or inside the house or somewhere, paste the summons. Then it has been accepted as delivered summons. Right? That is the legal process side of delivering the summons. Once he delivered the summons, he had to present for the courts. Once he present the court, we can go ahead with the case. Otherwise, case cannot be taken up. Right. Now, there's another option, the bank or the lender available in file action. We go for go to the fiscal, tell the fiscal that when you're delivering the summons, I will come with you. We will come with you to show the person. So give something to him. That's okay. These things are accepted things, not legal, but accepted norms. Do something to the fiscal, right? And go along with him. Show, Mr. Pereira. You show the person, Mr. Pereira. So he'll have to deliver. He cannot deny. He has to deliver the person. That's the second option. There are 2 options available for us to deliver the summons. Okay, right. Next step is customer or the default has to come to the courts and appear for the courts. Then court will give him time to file answer, right? For the action, the plaint we have prepared, the customer has to give answers, file answer. Here file answer. Pratyuttara bandinu. Right? File answer to the questions. Now you may find that we have been framed certain charges in the plaint. This loan has been given such and such a date, such and such a time, such a person. These are the witnesses who witnessed the signature. These are the documents he has produced to us. These are the what do you call securities given to us. Likewise, we have all this in there, and finally we will plead for a what do you call that we finally in our plane, we pray for a certain judgment. We ask for certain things. Our loan to be paid, our cost to be paid, and whatever charges we incurred has to be paid. Any damages if we there paid. Likewise, we had prayer. Now the customer, if he come forward for answer, he deny all our charges. මම ලෝන් එක ගත්තේ නැත්නම් මම දැක්කේ නැත්නම් බැංකුව පැත්තේ ගියෙත් නැහැ මේ මගේ අස්සනත් නෙවෙයි මේ කියන ඔක්කොම බොරු. This is the experience of going to courts. He completely denies. Sometimes he accepts මම බැංකුවට ගියා මම නෙවෙයි ලෝන් එක ගත්තේ මැනේජර් මහත්තයා ලෝන් එක ගත්තේ. ඔය යන පුයි. මම මෙච්චර ගත්තේ නැහැ මට දුන්නේ මෙච්චර මේ ගානේ තව ගත්තා. So this type of problems here are right. Then it is our duty to prove that his signature. That's why I told, verifying the signature is very important. Prove his signature in that side. Right? All this explain his denying all the actions. So finally, what have we do? We have no other option. Challenge this. So what judge will do? You are charging this customer, taken money, and all these things, your charges are there. And this customer or the defendant, we call the legal term as a defendant will deny it. He will deny it. He denies everything. Then judge say, okay, ought to be go for a trial. So next step will be the trial. Go for a trial. That means it has to be witnesses and all the documents, everything has to be proved in the courts by the bank as well as the defendant also. The borrower also has to prove his stand. If he says it's not my signature, you have to prove that. My regular signature is this is wrong. So we have to fight with the customer in the courts to prove these things. So trial is not easy. It's not an easy job. Normally, 20 of you, half an hour will take for one evidence. Normally, the courts will call the plaintiff. That's on the bank. Bank officer has to represent the bank. Some of the bank officers has to represent the bank on the trial, and we have to give evidence. Now let's see how the bank get ready for these type of cases. It's very pathetic sometimes if we hear about certain way we have been handling this. Right? The manager comes in the morning, the Silva ki ladu neither. So he goes round and finding out their staff. Asking for one officer or a staff assistant. Given the file to him to appear on behalf of the courts. So now he had to go to courts with the file. So he had to sit in the bench on the what you call plaintiff side. Whenever case is called, So the Mudliya will call the name of the bank and who will represent it from the bank. So he is there. And again, who do it? So he had to get into the bench. And first, here you the what you call oaths to be given. I'm telling the truth on the Bible or the whatever Quran or whatever it is there on the this thing. And swear that I am telling the truth, but nothing but truth, everything truth. Then swear first. Then defense lawyer will start examining the bank officer. Right? This is very, very cumbersome. Always the defense lawyer try to get from your mouth the points what he wanted. That is a lawyer's job. Yeah, that's why everybody paying for lawyers. So he'll ask from you, who are you? And the manager of the bank, such and such. How long you are working for his bank, such and such a period. Now you handle this loan? No, before me this loan was granted. If I took for the branch, this loan was granted. That means you doesn't know about this loan. So what you are going to say, yes or no? Do you know anything about this loan? How it has been granted and all? You are not aware of? How do you evidence? Yeah, itself try to pass it off. So sometimes you may certainly tell that mama study karla tama yaar mama tame take over ke karna study. No, matlab vistara avashya nahi. Yes or no? මේ ලෝන් එක බිල් දෙන වෙලාවේ තමයි හිතියද නැද්ද? සමහර කියනකොට මම මේ ලෝන් එක ගාලා ඉස්කෝලේ යනවා. මම ඇඩ්වාන්ස් එක ගන්නවා. කියලා අවුරුදු 15 වසරේ උසාවියෙන්නේ. ඒක තමයි මේක දන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් මම දන්නේ නෑ මට දන්නේ නැහැ. දෙන වෙලාව තමයි දැන් මේක දැනගෙන හිටියද නැද්ද එච්චරයි. So this way try to put you at a very mentally depressed situation. If you able to manage that position and come across, then ask certain personal questions. Sama bank වලින් qualification එක බලන්න. මම ක්ලාක් කෙනෙක් හැටියට ජොයින් වුණේ. ඉතින් මම කියනවා O level වැඩ හය පාස් වෙලා. ක්‍රෙඩිට් හැටි O level පාස් වෙලා. ඒකද මේ ඉන්නේ මැනේජර්ස් O level පාස් වෙලා ඉන්නේ. මෙතනදී qualification නැද්ද? අලිසමත් ගලවනවා. ඒ වගේ embarrassing situation, put you to embarrassing situation, try to get. Now the lawyers are asking question, two types of question. One is called open-ended question, other one is close-ended questions. They never ask from you open-ended question. Open-ended question means you can explain what is happening, but they never allow you to go for open-ended questions. They go for close-ended, yes or no answers. If you say yes or no, both are against you, because if you can't tell a lie, that's a lie. So it's a greater difficult to take about from your part, you have to prove it. Then all the signatures, the witnesses will call and ask whether they have seen this person as signed. Such and such this. Sometimes you may find date of the document is very, very important. Loan agreement. Sometimes you take blank documents. You put the date at the time of presenting for courts. Date stamp we have other cases that the customer were not there at that time in the country, or he's hospitalized. Sometimes you put the date stamp or the date you have released the funds. At that time, he's not in the country. Sometimes he has gone out abroad. So he may produce his passport and say, at this date, I am not in the country. How can I borrow this money? Or he may say, I am in the critical condition in the ICU on this date. So if the bank has come to the ICU and took the signature. See, the problems we are having to prove when you go to courts. When you go to courts to prove the case, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. So how you have to prepare for a case? Whenever a case, 1 week or 2 weeks before the due date or date of the case, what you have to do is take the case, discuss with your lawyer how to give evidence, what are the questions the defense lawyer may ask from me, and how to answer those questions. So get prepared. Get prepared and go. Otherwise, chances of getting success is very, very remote. Very, very remote. Okay, so after this hectic passage of time, it may sometimes take 4 to 5 years, finishes all the evidences, and then thereafter, the written, written submission from the lawyers, defense lawyer as well as the plaintiff lawyer, summarizing the entire case, and they had to produce to the judge to take a decision. That's called some final summary. After going through that, judge, if he proved the case, he gives the judgment favoring us, or he may dismiss the case. That is given the chance to the witness, the defendant. Once it is it, then it is final. You can go to high courts later on. Okay. Right? So let's see. We'll presume that we have got the case and we have got the judgment. So judgment is, we got the judgment, that's it. We got the judgment finally. Okay, we won the case. We won the case. They are very happy. Everything is over. Have the money. You won the case, but have the money. Settle alone. Now we are at 5, where the money is available. Now the problem, find out what are the assets this customer is having. What are the assets this customer is having? Prepare a list of that assets and produce the reports and ask for a writ order. That's the last call. Writ order. Get a writ order. Answer writ order means the courts mean that means a court will issue order to the fiscal to confiscate all these assets and sell public auction and get the money, deposit in the courts. Later we can go and claim from the courts. That's a procedure. That's a procedure. Okay, now about 6 to 7 years, 8 years sometime have passed. Now what is the ultimate result? When we come to this point, the writ order, right? Customer may come to the bank, courts and say till that Appuhami, අනේ හඳුන්නේ මට තියෙන මේ රෙද්දයි බැඳීම විතරයි වත්කම් වශයෙන් මේක ගත්තොත් මම හෙළුවේ. මට මොකද ගෙවා ගන්න ක්‍රමයක් නැහැ. So finally judgment will give after the writ is defendant bankrupted, unable to pay. ඔන්න legal action අරගෙන අපිට ලැබෙන අවසාන ප්‍රතිඵලය. That's the last. Yeah. So now we had to take that order on the judgment on the courts and had to prepare a board paper to get the money approval to write off that loan. There's no way of recovery. Okay. This is the practical problems when you are going to courts. That's why always I'm telling, whenever you go for recovery drives, don't threat the customer. Don't tell that. That you what? Customer will tell that. But he knows that how to win the case. And he knows that what wicket you are in. He may have some plus points against us. Our documents are not perfect. We have to prove the documents. A lot of problems are there. Okay, how successfully we can get a case get into up in our favor? According to our experience, we did a research at the Colombo District Courts. Right, how many cases have been filed by the banks and financial institutions, and what's the recovery procedure? 80% unsuccessful. Very rarely you get a chance. Very rarely. Right. Now, let us see how best we can win a case, get a favorable judgment for the bank or the lender. How should we proceed? First step, when the summons are issued, we said how to issue the summons. We had to involve in the summons issuing. There are certain unethical ways of doing, the recently of finance companies, how they're going to recover, ethical ways and unethical ways. Yeah, there are certain unethical ways also there. We take a chance and sometimes some bank officers just that. It can't be tell in this type of a recorded thing. This is a classroom, of course, I could have told. But in the recording system, it will be may go against us. Therefore, it's unethically, I'm not going to tell you. Ethically, we can, legally we can do. So first thing, you had involved in the issuing summons. That's the first step. The moment customer come forward, file answer, that's the time I'm going to start the case. And the customer answering. So you find out what are the assets customer is having under his name. All the assets under his name, file in the courts with a stay order that it cannot be disposed till the case is over. Otherwise, what will happen? You have enough time for file action to get the writ judgment. There are enough time for 5-6 years. You can dispose all the his asset and come empty-handed to the courts. That's what happens. Once it disposed, given alienated or given for a family, sold or whatever it is, you have no claim. Unless otherwise, legally you stop that. So how to stop it? At the time of file action, at the answer to the case, that's the starting point of the case. You file a memorandum to the courts, a memo, say these are the assets of the customer, and we want to seize that assets till case is over. So we will go stay order. Customer will not dispose any of these assets till the case is over. Okay, so if we get a writ order in our favor, so we have stuff to show that these are the items available. So whatever he have been disposed by that time, it is legally null and void. Still legally stop it. Get a stay order. How to find out what are the assets customer is having? Is another issue. Only you can take whatever is in his name, not in the jointly or in jointly or some other names. No. Whatever is in his favor name, you can take it action. You can stop it. How to find out? That's why loan application with the customer forward, there's a column. What are the assets he's having? Movables, immovables, stock in trade, then what you call treasury bills, fixed deposits, all these things are, we ask customer fill it carefully. So that will help us in defaulted to find out what are the assets available to get a stay order. So at the time of granting the facility, see that this application is completed. All these information are available. Okay, so these are the steps involved in filing action in the courts. So what is the position of this for us? How to handle this? Okay, right. So I can't ask any question. Whether you have any question to clarify? Any questions? Send me in the afternoon. Finally, we'll discuss. Okay, so we'll get back to the okay. So district court filing action system. Let's go for the other one. Hypothetical action. So how to file action and the money action. Let's discuss the other one is hypothetical action. What is hypothetical action? We discussed last week. That means the Mortgage Act. Under the Mortgage Act, taking action means the mortgage action, right? But in the field of mortgage property, immovable or a movable property is available, right? We can file action in the district courts. If it's less than 5 million, definitely we have to go to courts. Or our documents are weak. Then also we can file a hypothetical action in the courts to enforce the, there we can do any parade, we have to go for a hypothetical action or a money action in the courts, right? According to the section 34 of the Civil Procedure Code, we ask to enforce the payment of the money due upon the hypothetical. So in the case is what we are pleading, to enforce the mortgage bond and seize the asset, sell by public auction by the courts and recover the money. That's a remedy we are expecting from the courts under hypothetical action. So it also file action, hypothetical action can be filed at the district courts as to enforce the mortgages, right? What type of mortgages? Is anything less than 5 million or where a mortgage is taken, where documents are weak, we cannot enforce parade. Can enforce parade, we have to go for hypothetical action. Okay. Next step we go for, we discuss that. Next step is the next level of action we had to go for high courts. It's called commercial high courts. The high courts are made the provisions of the certain, in 1996 had been introduced, section 2.1 of that, number 10 of 1996, stipulate that every high court shall have exclusive jurisdiction and shall have cognizance of its full power to hear and determine in manner provided by written law all action, application and proceedings specified in the first schedule of this act. As a high court, also like district court, a little higher than that. It has a bench of two judges, two judgment, and the procedure is shorter than the district courts. Very quickly you can get a solution. Therefore, we can file action in the high court also. Scheduled to this act, party defendant, such action resides or result a course of action as arisen of content sought to be afforded in the made of high court established. That means this case should be within that judicial area, high court judicial area. High courts are established in Western Province. Then Central Province, likewise, provincially it has been established. So in that judicial, we had to, the course of action had to be there. Then what the first schedule says that first schedule the act specified allocations of where the course of action has arisen out of commercial transactions, out of any commercial transaction, including courses of action related to banking, the export or import of merchandise, service of equipment, insurance, mercantile agency, mercantile usage, and construction of any mercantile document. So any commercial transaction is governed under commercial provincial Special Provision Act. High Court of the Provincial Special Provision Act can go for that, for this get a remedy, so we are covered in that. Which is debt, damage or demand, a sum of exceeding 5 million rupees. Okay, now we can go to High Court file action, such exceeding 5 million rupees. For such other amount may fixed by the Minister from the time to time by notification published in the Gazette, other than action instituted the Special Provision Act No. 1990. So what is important here, any debt, damage or import, for sum exceeding 5 million rupees. Now here it is not defined whether it is principal amount or outstanding balance. Okay, very carefully read that. Therefore, we can go to high courts or district courts. District court, there's no limitation. There's no minimal limit or high limit. Any amount you can go to district courts. District court, sometimes you may find that certain district judges are not accepting cases straight away, less than 500,000, because it has to go to the mediation board first, and then it will come out after the mediation board. But high courts, it is not needed. Any case exceeding 5 million rupees, value of the case, that is sometimes principal amount as well as interest component accumulated, maybe with the penal interest, okay, it is not defined anywhere here. You can go action for 5 million rupees. Okay. Right. Then high courts are there in the provinces. You can file action to high court. The procedure for filing action is same as we discussed in the civil procedure code. That is issuing some demand, letter of demand, get a order approval, by preparing proxy, and up to the issuing summons. This procedure is same. Thereafter, there is no trial. Normally, in the high courts, there has not been trial. They take judgment on the written submissions and the oral submissions of the defense lawyers and the plaintiff lawyers. Any evidence to be led, if any party wanted to evidence to be discussed or led at the high court will send that application to the district courts to do that part and send it back. Right? In the high court, there is no evidence. Sakshi Dimak nahi. Sakshi Masima Mukut nahi. If anybody asks you for that, it will be sent back to, and we defend the plaintiff, it will be sent back to the district courts for go for that under the evidence code, let the evidence and discuss the evidence and submit the report to the High Court. Okay, so there are three important things we are discussing at the High Court. Right? High Court, you can do any commercial transactions. Open commercial transaction. Value is exceeding 5 million. Outstanding balance, right? Interest and capital, total amount can be 5 lakhs and exceeding 5 million at the district High Court. Thirdly, third point we have discussed was any evidence to be laid will be sent to the district courts for lead evidence and sent back to the High Court after lead evidence and the summary of the evidence. Yes, no. So time taken at the High Court may be very much less than the district courts. Within 2 or 3 years' time, maybe you can take the judgment. The other important fact is that Recovery Act Special Provision Act number 2 of 1990, it was held Isuan and others versus Bank of Ceylon and Seneviratna versus Lanka Oryx Leasing Company Limited, that all actions instituted under the Debt Recovery Special Provision Act number 2 of 1990, as amended by Act number 9 of 1999, fall outside the jurisdiction of the High Court Provision Act number 9 of 10 of 1996. What does it mean? You cannot file action in the High Court under the Debt Recovery Act. You cannot file action at the High Courts. You cannot file action in the High Court, commercial High Courts, for act under Debt Recovery Act. Debt Recovery Act is a special act. Only in the district court you can file action. Right? You can't go to High Courts, file action in that. So there are two cases, important cases. Isuan and others versus Bank of Ceylon and Senator versus Lanka Oryx Leasing Company Limited, that is decided that jurisdiction is outside the High Courts. High Courts cannot go here. I think this is very important to understand. It's very clear. So when you go for certain other actions, the amount of the value of the facility is changing time to time, place to place. When you go for parade, right, the interest component is not taken into consideration. Only the capital amount outstanding. Mediation board, total outstanding. Likewise, differently for a legal institution, the amount is just very clearly defined in different ways. So we have to study those things for recovery actions. Otherwise, our action will be straight away dismissed. You know, there are certain cases filed action courts without taking hearing, they dismiss a case because it has been not filed according to the legal requirement. Therefore, we have to be very careful once it disposed, you can go ahead and think. Right. Next thing, therefore, it should be highlighted that the district court is vested with the jurisdiction of hear and determine the action instituted under the Debt Recovery Act, Special Provision Act Amendment 9 of 1999. Therefore, only Debt Recovery Act have file action at the district courts. Now, another important factor before you go to the next step, Debt Recovery Act, file action in the Debt Recovery Act. Very important one thing we have to clarify about this procedures in the filing action in the district courts. Okay. Now, once it decided in the district courts, right? If the district courts, when it's decided in the district courts, that can be forwarded to the, if the case, any party, the defendant or the plaintiff can go for a remedy at a higher level. That is, can go to commercial high courts. On the district courts, you can file appeal at the commercial high courts. Judgment of appeal high court can be, right, go for again for any jurisdiction, appeal at a higher court at the, it's called appeal court. Right, next level is the appeal court. If you are not satisfied with the judgment in the appeal court, you may go to the higher level, is the Supreme Court. So this is the structure of the jury structure. The highest level of judicial structure in Sri Lanka is the Supreme Court. Nothing about that. So any decision of the Supreme Court will be final, and it is becoming a statute law of the country. Any decision of the Supreme Court, right, considered as a statute law in the country for that matter. So the decision of the Supreme Court is very important for us. Those judgments are guidelines for us as statute laws. Okay, right. Let's then go for next slide for issuing legal action under Debt Recovery Act number 2 of 1990. Okay. Now this is a special act brought in 1990 to expedite the legal action by the banks. Default rates were going very, very high in 1980 plus. The recovery was a lengthy procedure for the institutions, and very important person behind this all the legal action is Dr. Inu Javadana. He was the initiation of changing number of enactments in the parliament in 1990 and got for the benefits of the banking sector to expedite the recovery. It Recovery Act. Last week we discussed about the Recovery Bank Loan Special Provision Act. Last week discussed the amendment to the Trust Receipt Ordinance. Last week we discussed about the Mortgage Amendment Act. Likewise, number of Agreement Service Act. A number of acts also amended where the bank had given full the chances to go recovery without delay, without legal delay. Right? So it's pathetic that financial institutions are still not using most of these facilities granted to us. Right, okay, let's go for what is Debt Recovery Special Provision Act, Debt Recovery Act. Most of the instances, the participants, bankers are misleading with this word. Whenever we call about Debt Recovery Special Provision Act, a lot of our participants going for the parrot. Parrot is a separate law. It is Recovery of Bank Loan Special Provision Act. Debt Recovery Act is a wider, but Debt Recovery Act gives the structure of filing action differs from the normal civil procedure code. Right? Shorter way. Without going civil procedure code, shortest method is going to the Debt Recovery Act. This is shorter. Very quickly we can take a discussion of the judgment. Right. Let's see what section 2 says. What is a lending institution? A licensed commercial bank, which is the meaning of Bank Act of 30 of 1988, and they are State Mortgage Bank, National Development Bank, NSB, Development DSCC. All these we call specialized banks. So therefore, all the banks, commercial banks, specialized commercial bank, or licensed specialized bank, and the meaning of Bank Act 30 of 1988, can institute legal action under Debt Recovery Special Provision Act, number 2 of 1990. It also says a company registered under Finance Company Act. So, a company registered under Finance Company Act 1987, recent one 2007 Act. A registered company also can file action under Debt Recovery Act, Special Provision Act. So here you may find one of the financial institutions not included in this list. Commercial banks are there, specialized banks are there, finance companies are there. Who are left behind? Who are left behind? Yes. Yes, the leasing companies are excluded from the Debt Recovery Act. You see, under Section 2 of the Legal Debt Recovery Act, leasing companies are not falling and taken action on this. Why is that? Why is that? If you look at the principle of leasing companies, Finance Lease Act, it specifically says what is a leasing company. Right? Leasing company is not a loan. It's not a debt. Leasing transaction is a rental agreement. It's not a loan agreement. Asset is given on rent for a use. A rental has to be paid for use. That's a leasing agreement. It is not a loan. So, since there's no loan, there's no recovery. Understood? Since there's no loan, there's no recovery. That's a principle, legal principle behind that. Of a recent the last the incident, the incident taken took place. If you have gone for the social media and the news conferences, number of people have been giving certain ideas. Still, they have not touched upon the basic principle of leasing. What is leasing? What does leasing mean? So, still, there's a confusion about this leasing product. Okay, that's a separate subject. We'll get time to provide. We'll discuss how to go for recovery of leasing products also. Right. So, lending is what is lending institution? Simple here. The leasing companies cannot file action under the Debt Recovery Act. Debt Recovery Act defines a debt means a sum of money which is ascertained or capable of being ascertained at the time of institution of transaction, and which in default, whether the same be secured or not, or owned or jointly or severally. So it is a certain of being able to observe in time of business, which default, some money ascertained, taken, or capable of being ascertained. That's how the Debt Recovery Act defines what is a debt means. Then an alleged by the lending institution to have arisen from a transaction in the course of banking, lending, financial or other allied business activity of that institution, but does not include a promise or an agreement which is not in writing. It should be in writing agreement. Okay, it should be a written agreement. Unwritten agreements cannot be filed under the Debt Recovery Act. So that is basically what is defined about what is the debt and how Debt Recovery Act. Let us see what are the salient features in the Debt Recovery Act. Salient features. Number one, Section 2.2 says you can file action amount lent or advance was less than 150,000. Less than, you cannot take action cases where the lent amount, principal amount lent is less than 150,000. That is, any action that can be instituted. The principal amount granted is more than 150,000. You can go for Debt Recovery Act. File action under Debt Recovery Act. Any facility, principal amount granted is 150,000 or more. That's the first number one principle. Action be instituted by presenting a claim in the form of a specified in the Civil Procedure Code, Chapter 3, Chapter 10. On the Civil Procedure Code, Chapter 3, what has given you? Just a little while ago, I given the action. Right? And the same procedure, that is sending a letter of demand, get the board resolution passed, preparing a proxy, preparing the plaint for the by the plaint, then the plaint to be produced to district courts and file action. Right? Thereafter, the other procedures are not followed in the Debt Recovery Act. There's no summons issues. There's no file answer. There's no trial. Right? Straight away going for the judgment. It's called, the judgment is given straight away. That's why this Debt Recovery Act is very, very favorable for bankers. After filing action within 1 month or 2 months, they can take the judgment. That is an important part of this Debt Recovery Act. Okay, so it is same in the Civil Procedure Code, but shortened and other actions. Then an affidavit will be filed together with the plaint to effect that there is some claim justly due from the defendant. Right? That means now I give the list of documents to be submitted. Right, in the earlier district court case, that is agreement, single documents, ledger sheet, and correspondences, all needed to file action against the Debt Recovery Act also. And along with that, there should be another document, an affidavit to be filed which they claimed, to effect that sum is claimed just due from the defendant. So bank or the legal finance institution has to file a affidavit saying that this money is due from this customer. That's enough. Affidavit to be filed. In addition, shall present to the court the instrument, agreement, or document sued upon. That's a real list of all the documents has to be submitted, as we discussed in the earlier proceeding. Then, the instrument, document, or agreement presented to courts be properly stamped. All the documents should be properly stamped. Okay, so it's a part of the legal part of the document. Stamp, paying the stamp duty is a legal part of the procedure. How to pay the stamp duty? There are certain ways of paying stamp duty. And let's see how this stamp duty Special Provision Amendment Act number 10 of 2008 make provisions about the stamp duty, paying the stamp duty. We can pay stamp duty different ways. Right? Number one is you can pay the stamp duty by the way of impress stamp. Impress stamp means you pay the value of the stamp to the Inland Revenue Department, and they emboss on the document the stamp, embossing the stamp of the document. It's called embossed stamp or impress stamp. In Colombo, you can go to legal State Inland Revenue Department, issue a pay order for the value of the stamp. They will emboss the stamp and give back to you. That's one way of doing paying stamp duty. For large amounts, you can't pay stamp solo the documents. Therefore, paying stamp duty by impress stamp is very, very easy. Second is up to 9,999 rupees and 9 cents 99. You can pay through a franking machine. Practically, using this, but we can use that franking machine for 9,999 rupees. Right? You can use the franking machine. Thirdly, you can pay in outstations. You can pay to the divisional secretary stamp duty and get a receipt and paste that receipt on the document. Pay the stamp duty to the divisional secretariat, and the divisional secretary will issue a receipt. Paste the receipt on the document, original document. So that's also accepted as method of paying stamp duty. That's the third method. Fourth method, paying stamp duty is okay. Some banks are, some organizations are authorized by the Inland Revenue Department to collect the stamp duty. You may find that banks and all, we have to pay stamp duty. We collect the stamp duty, credit to stamp duty account, and put a rubber stamp saying that stamp duty of this document has been collected. The certificate, that also accepted. Right? Then the other method of paying stamp duty is affixing stamp, or the called adhesive stamps. Adhesive stamp. Very common method is paying through adhesive stamps. So there are two types of adhesive stamp. One is revenue stamp, other one is postal stamp. Postal stamps are value rupees less than rupees 100 rupees is called postal stamps. Any stamp value of 100 rupees is called revenue stamp. Normally, postal stamps are you can buy from the counter at the post office, but revenue stamps are not available in the counter. You have to get it from the postmaster. Higher value stamps. Right? So there are two types of stamp adhesive stamps are available for us to paste on the stamp. Now, very important thing is once you paste the stamp, adhesive stamp, to get the validity, To get the validity, you have to cancel the stamp. Right? If you have not cancelled the stamp properly, it is not accepted as a paying of stamp duty. That's what giving the Stamp Duty Special Provision Act number 10 of 2008, how to cancel a stamp. How to cancel a stamp. Very common. Now, in the banks, you may find different time. When you place a stamp, it is either drawing a line on it with the round stamp of the bank. Number of things you are doing. Or signing over a stamp. So these are the practice in cancelling stamps. If you have not cancelled the stamp properly, that stamp duty payment is not valid. Let's see how the Stamp Duty Special Provision Amendment Act provides the provisions of cancelling of a stamp, adhesive stamp, right? That is, any person executing a specified instrument shall at the time of execution of such specified instrument, which is not stamped with the impression stamp, cancel the stamps thereon by writing or marking in ink on or across each stamp his name or initials, thereby preventing the stamp being used again. Any adhesive stamp has to be cancelled by writing the name on or across by ink, marking in ink on or across each stamp his name or initials. That's how to cancel the stamp. Now you may find this certain provisions here. Sometimes we are not practicing. Number one, marking in ink. Why marking in ink? When you write in the ballpoint pen, it can be erased easily. It can be erased easily. But the ballpoint pen, the ink in the ballpoint pen can evaporate in a high highlighting. If you keep a written document over a 100-watt lamp, it will immediately evaporate. You can erase it. Therefore, it is provided in the law to do marking by ink pen. Then it will be absorbed to the paper. You cannot erase it thereafter. That's a document. So therefore, keep in mind that's something very important thing given out of this. A long time before, when we joined the bank, when the documents are signed, we sign in a black color ink pen. It is non-washable ink. Non-washable ink or Indian ink. Okay. That's washable ink. Therefore, it is not erasable. So it is when you're writing by ink, you may find that it cannot be erased. It will be absorbed to the paper. It will absorb to the paper. Right. And of course, across the stamp, this name or initials, thereby preventing the stamp from being used again and again. Right? Okay. Second, further, such specified instrument bears an adhesive stamp of value 50 rupees or more. Any stamp above 50 rupees, such stamp shall be cancelled and the person executing specified instrument by perforating the same, either by cutting or pricking the stamp with suitable instrument. What it says, the stamp above 50 rupees has to be cancelled by writing the name on the stamp and also pricking the stamp by a suitable instrument. It has to be punched. Or punch means it's not mentioned about a puncture. It can be by a pin or a nail or whatever it is. It has to punch. So this is provisions of the stamp duty, right? It has to be cancelled in a such manner. Section 4 of the Act says, any specified instrument bearing an adhesive stamp which has not been cancelled, the manner set out in the subsection 3 shall be deemed to be unstamped to the extent of the value of such stamp. See, if it's not cancelled the way it has been defined in the section 3 of section 3 of the Act, shall be deemed to be unstamped. Now go back and see all of the documents, whether it is signed, executed, stamps have been cancelled according to the Stamp Duty Special Procedure Act. So signatures are not accepted. Also, other ways of cancelling, writing, scribbling, putting round stamp, all these things are deemed to be unstamped. Okay, so let us see what is the impact on this adhesive stamp. Right? Impact on adhesive stamp. When you affix a stamp, the customer, you get the customer signature on the stamp. Okay, yeah. Assume that you are taking a signature on the stamp. Now you take this document for print to the courts after some time, about 5-6 years later. By that time, the glue on the stamp has been dried off and stamp may be fallen down, but may not be in the same place. Now what are you going to do? Now stamp is came out from the place it had been affixed earlier. Then what shall you do for that? Paste it again. I would know. And so if you do it that will be a problem. Right? If you paste it later and you produce for the courts, definitely the defense lawyer definitely challenge for it. He may call the judge to send that document to the register of the documents at Torrington to get a report. No, Torrington will in the police department taken by Shagana, Takur by Shagana, commissioner. So you get the stamp. They'll say the stamp is fixed on the this such and such a period. Then definitely what will happen in your document is unstamped. He will challenge the your stamp document. The defense lawyer will challenge in the at the time of execution of this document, there's no stamp affixed to the document. So you lose the case. What shall we do in that case? What's option available? So what we have to do is don't paste the stamp back, staple it. So you can prove that the color, that portion may have been discolored for a period of time. So stable. That's what how we will make it out. The other problem is, right, if the stamp has come out from the documents, right, there's no signature for the document. If the stamp has fallen down, there's no signature for the documents. So you can understand the importance of getting the signature. The practice is very important. Get the signature just after the documents, the last paragraph of the document, not on the stamp. Last place of the document, you get the signature of the customer and affix the stamp. Ask the customer to write the name, or it can be done in body. Write the name and cancel the stamp, or paste the stamp, cancel the stamp, and get the signature below the stamp, not over the stamp. So your document will have a evidence of signed by the customer. This is how we have based the practically reports good. So all small points, the defense lawyer will try to take maximum benefit out of that to throw out our case. The other matter about the stamp, if it's in stamp, does not properly stamped it. You have to affix in full manner. So very important factor is you should not keep any blank in between. You should not keep any blank in between. That also can be challenged later on. Therefore, the last line of the document's paragraph, you may have the customer's signature over there. Then there are to place the stamp. Now, next important thing, is it necessary the customer has to sign the document, sign over the stamp or the cancel the stamp? In that, nowhere it says the executor has to sign, write the name. At the time of execution, write the name. So anybody can write the name for cancellation of stamp. It is not necessary that this is signed on the stamp. Okay, so this is very important to understand. So we have done this in the past. We have taken the signature of the stamp and all, right. Still not challenging the courts. So there will be time. There will be a time in the future that also may be taken up by the defense lawyers to challenge our documents. Now, so that's when I discussed this, when I talking about this matter, the central bank training program, one of the program, one of the legal officers want to notice it is there's a provision in the notary ordinance. There's a provision in the notary ordinance that it says it has a document has to be signed over a stamp, and it has to be attested by the notary. Okay, so that provision there, signing over the stamp in the notary ordinance, and notary had to attest that. Okay? So that was argued with me in the one of the lawyers. So my point is, okay, it is a notarial agreement, of course, okay. Our agreements are not notarial agreements. It's a layman agreement. So there's no notary to attest the document. Therefore, it does not arise. Okay, so when understand the legal structure, some legal provisions are there. It is applicable to certain extent, certain areas only. It is not always. Okay, clear? Right. Let's go one step forward. It is something very important. Stamp duty payment in Western Province for immovable property transfers. Whenever immovable property is transferred, the transfer deed of a immovable property should bear how to pay the stamp duty on that document. It is defined in the Financial Statute of Western Province number 6 of 1990. Under that, as per section 62, instrument relating to transfer of immovable properties should be endorsed by the Revenue Department of the Western Province to the effect of actual stamp duty payment. Valuation of properties is carried out at the Revenue Department of District Office. So this is another important factor we have to understand. This is the what is the paper advertisement I had taken up. This was published. According to this paper advertisement, you may see taksේරුකරුවන්ගේ මතයට අනුව දේපලේ වටිනාකම සම් සාධන පත්‍රයක් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම අනතුරුව වටිනාකම ලබා දීම සඳහා 2018 තුන්වෙනි මාසයේ පළවෙනි දින සිට කටයුතු කළ යුතුයි. Right? 2013 18 period. Right? So according to this, what is expected? Under section 62 of the Finance Statute of Western Province, any movable property written after 2013 has to be valued by the valuation office at the provincial office. Earlier, we paid the stamp duty according to our wish. We are undervalued and we paid undervalued stamp duty. All this was done. But now, since 2013, first March 1st, it has been implemented in the Western province that all uh, immovable property transfers, we have to refer to the valuation department of the revenue department of the provincial office to get a valuation of the property. The value will give a certificate, this is the value, and he will give a certificate, such amount of stamp duty to be paid. That amount you have to pay to the valuation provincial council and get a receipt. Pay to the provincial council and get a receipt. Then whenever document is sent for registration, before the registration, take the document, original document after executing, take to the provincial office and show the stamp duty payment and the valuation report and pay the stamp duty to the provincial office, and the valuation department of the provincial office will be endorse. We call endorse the document saying that stamp duty of this property has been paid. Without that endorsement, the document is legally not valid. Okay. So whenever you in Western province, that is Gampar district, Colombo district, Kaludar district, it was implemented. Whenever if you took a mortgage, see that transfer deed has been chopped at the provincial office, otherwise that document is legally not valid. Okay, legally not valid. You can't take any action on that. That means that stamp duty has not been paid, in other words. So now we discuss about lengthily how to pay the stamp duty, the ways of paying the stamp duty, and how to pay stamp duty payment for immovable property, that's transfer deeds. Transfer deeds, how to pay the stamp duty. It's all clearly defined. So we had to see whenever we take the documents, our documents are taken in such a manner. I think central province also this statute has been implemented. Not other places I have not come across, so I have to find out from that. Okay, so the paying of stamp duty is very important factor. That's it. The instrument, document, agreement, presented codes to be properly stamped. Section 4 of the Diploma Act. So how to pay the stamp duty? We are discussing this. Okay. Right. Next important factor is very, very important. Salient features. We are talking about salient features. Next salient feature is in the Diploma Act is the document, instrument, or an agreement should not be open to suspicion by reason of any alteration or erasure or other matter on the face of it and not be barred by the prescription. That means the documents we are submitting to the courts under the Diploma Act should be perfect. There should not be any alteration, erasure or other matter on the face of it. No additional things should be in the face of the document. Let me go through this case. What do you mean by this? Very important. Alterations. No alteration is accepted. Any suspicion by reason of alteration. Now, what's an alteration? We have defined that. Now, when you take a document, we have said still, even now, most of the institutions, legal financial institutions, as well as the banks, are taking number of initials of the document. Initial attack gagan udendra ballada. Hamma histaragalama initial gagan. Is it needed? Is it needed? Okay, let's see. Why had we taken these initials for the documents, for the blanks earlier? That is long before we took. Yeah, printed documents. We have taken the printed document and typed the documents later on. So we fill the document in between. Therefore, that filling the document we consider as an addition. Therefore, the borrower's initials, executor's initial. But the present position today, all the documents are computerized, and we take a computer print. Do we need any initial for that? Do we need an initial for that? No. So if you take an initial that man, according to this act, it is an addition. The document is not accepted for courts. Sometimes you may find the erasers. Long before we do this part, documents printed, what you call printed documents which have been typed by the stenographers, you may have seen that they are, when a mistaken error taken place, they make it erase it. Either scrape from the blade and retype over it. This case, not under the recovery, before that also, it has been proved that sometime in the courts it has not been accepted. I'll give two cases. Right. One first case is at the district court Montevideo. When this case was taken up at the Montevideo, one of the cases, we produced a document. Right? This document in the type, the amount has been incorrectly typed as 10,000 rupees. Later, when we saw that that error, the bank officials cut from the one line. It's not scribbling, right? Cut from one line at 10,000 and written over that 100,000 about that particular place and got the customer's full signature to authenticate that alteration. Document has been altered, got the full signature of the customer, borrower, to authenticate that. Now that is in a normal practice, we accept it as it's a norm, it's correct. It's already customer authenticated, therefore it is accepted that alteration have been valid. But at the district court Montevideo, the defense lawyer argued with the presenting the document, saying that at the time of executing this document, there wasn't any alteration here. He argued that at the time of executing this document, there wasn't any alteration. Bank has taken my client's signature over here to alter it subsequently with a fraudulent intention. This was the argument for the defense lawyer. So, what is the position of the bank? Now we have to prove that this signature taken at the time of execution and this alteration were there at that time of execution. We have to prove it. Because defense lawyer argues that alteration has done subsequently. Now we have to prove it in the courts. Right? How to prove it? We can prove. If you share a copy of the document are given to the customer as a normal procedure should be there, but we are not doing that. So you can ask for the original one to submit it. Then you find that we can prove it. That was there. Second one, erasure or making Tipex. Right? It was at the master of courts, defense lawyer, took the documents, raised to the light, and asked from the lawyer, the judge, your lord, your honor, can you see a hole in this paper? Can you normally a naked eye you can't see, but he saw that he could hold it to the light in the course and show that place to the judge. That means there's erasure. Plate එකේ හූරලා ඒක උඩ type කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක පේන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් defense lawyer අල්ලගත්තා. So there's alteration, there's no authentication, that document was rejected. He lost the case. So be careful. You know what you're taking documents. Now stop taking all blank documents. It's not needed now because everything computerized. You take computer print Therefore, it is not needed to take additional signatures. All the documents should bear only one signature at the end of the document. And you may take another signature at the end of each page. End of each page, you may take a signature in your system, because that is document is continuing for the next page. Therefore, you'll better take a one signature on the bottom part of the last line of the any document as accepted. Other than that, no more signatures or anywhere, no more initials anywhere. Only one signature or continuation sheet that should be where the signature. Right. Now, regarding these documents, recently we found a document. It's a computer printout. The computer printout has been erroneously printed. Certain words, sentence or words what you got duplicated or twice typed. So the person or the lady who had taken this printout had put Tipex over it and tried to erase it. What do you think? It's a computer printout. Using Tipex to erase it. Still, we have not understood the gravity of this documentation. It's a legal document. You are producing the codes to prove that. So anything like this can be challenged by the defense lawyer, and the document may be thrown away. So we may lose the case. So therefore, please, as I have done this practice, if any alteration or erasure, anything which has seen in the document, I tear it off and ask the stenographer to type it again. No matter, she was crying sometime. So I called her and told her, Madam, over time then over hand. මට ලක්ෂ 15ක loan මේ සල්ලි රෙඩි කරගන්න අපේ loan එක මේක නිසා. So that is what we are looked into. Okay, right. So bearing documents should be perfect. Documents should be perfect. Right. One more thing. Now, what is the present position? Now, I told about, now we are having most of things are fit in the system, computerized, and we will take the computer print documents. Computer printouts we are taking out. Now, there's a case at the Colombo High Court. When I was there, Colombo High Court for us, the case, very interesting. One of the documents were produced by the bank. Right? So, the defense lawyer asking from the judges, two judges are there on the bench, Your Lord, read para 3 of the page 1. This loan has to be given to MWP Pereira. You're all right, Honor? Yes. First page, the customer says PWP Pereira. Okay. So, Your Honor, go to page 3. It says this loan is given to MD Silva. Borrow is MD Silva. Now, whom to this loan has been given? It is to Mr. Silva or Mr. Pereira. So, see the pathetic situation of the bank. Same document, front page, one name, inside another name. What has happened? What has happened? The person who prepared the document, right? But normally what they do, they go for a previously or the whatever previous loan or previous fund, take and make certain alteration, name and address and other things are making people on it. So sometimes by the time she could not finish, the customer has come, she has got a printout and given. Who asked, there are certain other places to be amended, has not been amended. Amount is wrong, name is wrong, address is not correct, conditions are incorrect. It happens to me also. I took a loan and they given a condition paper document with a condition. So when I go to the condition, it is not relevant to the staff members. You see, it is the same document taken from the customers is printed for me also. What is now? This is where our staff is making errors. So as officers, so the low elite officers, be very careful about documents. Go through the documents. Another incident, it also happened in the High Court Colombo. Right? One document, it has been produced for evidence, right? Then the defense lawyer, right, called your lord, page 3, F page 3, page of document P1, page 3, third para. Can you read out the third para, Your Honor? So the judge started reading. Face was, little upset. It's not, could not, from the face you can see, the sentence could not be understood. So he gave the document to the other lady, the judge who was on the other side, second, the two judges. She also went to, and she also could not read that. Look at, both of them are looking face to face. Could not understand what. Oh, computer printout එක a sentence a part of the sentence has been deleted. A part එක deleted. එතකොට sentence එකේ කියන condition එක මොකක්ද කියලා කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න බෑ මොකක්ද කියලා. ඔන්න අපේ document උසාවියට. All this thing I brought you to notice is this is practice. Practically how we have been faced for difficult situations when the documents are incorrect. So it's very, very important factor. Carefully go through the documents before executing them. Once one executed by the customer, that's final. You can't get it amended by the customer. He never comes to effect amending document. Why? He knows that we are in a bad wicket. He will take maximum benefit and opportunity from that to prevent paying the loan, to default the loan. So we have to be careful. Okay, so documentation is very, very important. It's very, very important. Right. So under network coverage, we are talking about what are the how to file action, what are the to be procedures to be followed, what are the salient features. Right. Next salient feature is the court being satisfied the content affidavit shall enter dignity. Dignity is the judgment. If the courts satisfy the content of the claim and the affidavit, immediately judgment will give. So I told you earlier, when you file action, go through the documents. If documents are okay, on the face of it, degree is issued. That is mean judgment is issued. There's no what do you call summons issuance. There's no trial. There's no answer filing. Nothing. Straight away judgment is issued. So therefore, there's no time for customer to do anything. Judgment is already issued. Okay. Where a degree in ISI entered under Section 4, provision made under the Civil Procedure Code shall apply to servers of such degree in ISI on the defendant. That means the degree in ISI, once it's decided, it is considered under Section 4 of the provision. It is announced to the defendant. Because all the defendant is not in the courts. We filed action and taken the judgment. So under that provides that provision made under the Civil Procedure Code shall apply to the service of such degree in ISI to the defendant. Defendant may notice, judgment taken deliver kara ha saman hai. Deliver kara avasya nahi. But we do normally, we deliver it. Okay. Then defendant can obtain leave from the courts to appear and show causes. Section 6 එකේ allow කරලා තියෙනවා. Defendant පුළුවන් දැන් ඊට පස්සේ උසාවියෙන් challenge kara, show causes, hetu dakkana, a judgment පිළිබඳ ජාගයට දක්වන්න පුළුවන්. And court show causes for the judgment. Right? The court will give leave to appear and show cause against a degree ISI if Savia, a degree ISI කරුණ ඉදිරිපත් කරන අවසර දෙන්නේ will allow the appear to show cause against the degree ISI if upon the defendant paying the sum mentioned in the degree ISI or upon furnishing a security appears to be fixed. Demand කරලා තියෙන ප්‍රමාණයට security එකක් තියන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මුදල තැන්පත් කරන්න ඕන උසාවිය. So that means the defendant has to deposit the money in the courts, the entire amount claimed by the bank, before challenging the decision of the courts. Right? උසාවියේ සල්ලි deposit කරොත් විතරයි අර further clarification යන්න පුළුවන්. Upon affidavit satisfied that to the court that there is an issue or a question in dispute which ought to be tried, then උසාවියට පුළුවන්, that judge can go, because the defendant also you have to give affidavit, and if you court satisfied with the affidavit, court accept the affidavit, if the court thinks that there's a question in dispute or some sort of a what do you call, the judgment has been taken in a wrong way, or the plaintiff, the bank has given the incorrect information to take the judgment, then then it will appear to be the court that the degree ISI was obtained on insufficient grounds or dismissal action or degree ISI is discharged by default or otherwise, or found no reasonable ground, the court may award against the institution such sum as it deems reasonable compensation for the expenses or injury caused. If the judge, if the court decides things that the judgment has taken with insufficient ground, we have not given sufficient ground, or dismisses action is dismissal due to the incorrect information or it's not incomplete, and the documents may challengeable sometime. If they so, court will give an order, discharge default. That means that will court will give against the institution the judgment. It will reverse back the judgment and ask pay the compensation and the cost incurred by the injuries caused, cost incurred by the defendants and compensate the defendants. That is the important part of this act. We can take action in the default or default obtain such leave, appearance and showing causes, court shall make degree ISI absolute. If there's no challenge from the defendants, within 14 days, this degree ISI became absolute, but it is confirmed. Otherwise, deposit the full amount and contest the challenge the decision. Contest. If the customer wins the case, bank has to pay the compensation for the customer for their damages, their what do you call their cost, as well as any defamation. Everything has to be paid by the bank. Therefore, we are not filing action in this case. You all very happily go by the money actions, the old system, because it may take a long time, but no problem like this. So I had when I go for the research sometime back, from the Kalama district courts, I asked, find out details. From 2000, this is 1990, this act was passed in the parliament. In 2014, I went to the district courts and got the information on the registrar that during this period, how many cases have been filed under the Debt Recovery Act. It's less than 100 by all the banks for 10 years. Still we are not using this. Okay, So these are the salient features of the application of the Debt Recovery Act. Filing action, taking the judgment, contesting the judgment, and finding out the object. Okay, these are the steps in the salient features. Right, let us look at what are the other benefits we are getting on the Debt Recovery Special Provision Act. What are the benefits? We get a judgment over this Debt Recovery Act, Special Provision Act. When the degree rise I made absolute, it shall be deemed to be a writ execution duly issued to fiscal under terms of section 2253 of the Civil Procedure Code. Right. You follow this? Writ execution. Now the writ execution, we have taken the what do you call it, money action. The lastly, the ninth step, no? The writ action execution were taken, and the ninth step. And after producing the list of the what do you call it, assets, only writ have executed by the risk court under section 225. But in this case, the more immediately degree rise was made absolute, that means implemented, it deemed to be a writ execution, immediately writ execution. So therefore, we don't have to have a get another writ application done. Automatically, in the judgment itself, the writ execution is included. That means straight away we can confiscate the assets and sell by the public auction and try to recover by the courts. That's a that we see now what type of benefits given to the banks under this act. Next one, the any person resisting the fiscal shall be deemed to be guilty of contempt of court. It is called a resist karoti. It is a criminal offence. Shall be liable to penalties prescribed by the Judicate Act number 3 of 1978. Next important one. If defaulter disposes or alienates any movable or immovable property after the degree nisi, such alienation shall be null and void, and no force or effect on law, and shall be open to seizure in whoever's hand such property may be. Section 50. What it says. Very, very important factor. Now, judgment is taken. We'll go back to the money action. Money action, after filing action, summons were issued. Then defendant file answers. Right? From that point to till the judgment, right? The defendant can dispose any property, any of his properties, anything he can do, and it is that's why I told earlier we'll have to take a stay order. Otherwise, he can dispose it before the judgment. It is legally accepted. But when you file the Debt Recovery Act, when the judgment is taken, that is degree nisi taken, from there onward, you cannot transfer any of the properties. If the defaulter disposes alienate any movable or immovable, very important, right? Movable or immovable property after the degree nisi, such alienation shall be null and void, and no effect on law shall be open to seizure whoever's hand is property may be. Any selling or this, the transaction is completely legally null and void. You can repossess, seize back. Now, let us see practically how this affecting others. Now, for example, we'll take a customer of a bank against this nisi order is issued. That particular customer is having account with you, your bank, or your finance company, or your institution. Consider there's a fixed deposit. Finance company, there's a fixed deposit in his name. Now, after this judgment, he withdraws that money. Now, what is the position? any movable or immovable property. So you are liable to seizure whoever's hand it may be. So you are liable to pay back that money to the courts under this act. Now see, very important part is here. How do we come across that there's a case against my customer? Because normally we consider any court, any case in the courts, right? As what you call a court order may come. We have learned about the certain court orders to stop accounts and all this coming from the courts. In this case, there's no such information or notice coming from the courts. That's why we had to go through the daily newspapers. This has normally after the judgment, this judgment is published in the newspapers. You have to follow the newspapers. The information is in the newspapers. And you have to take immediate action to suspend that account. You can't operate that account anymore. If you operate that account, then you are liable to the default. So you have to pay back that money to the courts if you have challenge or claim it. This is very, you have to understand the important parts of this Debt Recovery Act. Very, very important. Okay. So that means the borrow, what do you call the defaulter cannot play out one bag, entire his property, entire his all the assets will be automatically seized. Automatically seized by this judgment. Earlier we discussed the money action. We have to take a stay order for such situation. Here, that is automatically there inside the judgment itself. Customer අද්දක කෝල් එක ඔක්කොම බැඳලා තියෙන මොකද කොල්ල එල්ලෙන්න බෑ. Right. See, let us see the other things. No sum of money be recovered as a penalty or default. Section 22. Penal interest charge කරන්න බෑ. يعني customer penal interest charge කරනවා නම් debt recovery act එකෙන් අඩු දාන්න බෑ. You can't file action under recovery act. Right? No penalty has to be charged recovered default. When the banks again then the documents හදන්නේ මේ penal interest එකත් එකතු කරලා තමයි rate එක හදන්නේ. I mean, earlier we prepared interest rate of 14%. If defaults 4% penal interest. If default 18% given more. Then අපි documents හදන්නේ penal interest එක නෑ 18% interest per annum, 18% interest per annum. If the borrower pays regularly, 4% rebate will be given. That's no penalty. 4% rebate will be given. Then documents are in this frame. Right. Court may allow in the decreed ISI the interest agreed upon between the parties up to the date of decreed ISI and interest at the same rate the date of settlement. Now we go to the civil procedure code. When you file action under the money action, you can recover our bank interest up to the time of judgment. Okay, up to the time of judgment, we can charge the. That's why when we were filing action, we said interest accumulated up to this day so much, interest to be paid until the judgment at the rate of this much. Right? Thereafter, it is a legal interest. Thereafter, after judgment, you can't claim your bank rate. It is the legal interest. What is the legal interest? That rate only can charge after the judgment. But here, under Debt Recovery Act, parties have to pay dignity interest same rate until the time settlement. Same interest rate till the settlement. Making a benefit to bank. Until Satya Givaragama had to pay the bank interest rate. Now, bank interest rate is penal interest add karana. So, they can give until settlement. Just see what are the benefits given to us. Right. And next one, nothing in debt conciliation ordinance, chapter 31, and money lending ordinance, chapter 80, shall apply to or in relation to any institution, section 20. Is very important. What is debt conciliation ordinance is? Now, this is very old one. 1942, this act was the ordinance was passed to prevent the borrowers from the money lenders. Those Nato Chettias were the lenders to those days. Chettias. Chettias were charging heavy interest on the borrowers. To protect them, this conciliation ordinance brought that any person, any borrower behind difficulty or repaying the loan borrowed can go to debt conciliation board. It's a board called debt conciliation board and get a concession under ordinance. For example, he can say that I have only paid 500, I can pay only 500. So the conciliation board will issue order to pay 500 rupees only. So you cannot claim more than that. That's called debt conciliation board ordinance. Right? The next one is money lending ordinance. That also again to protect the borrowers from the chettias. Money lending ordinance brought. Under money lending ordinance, there's an important clause is you cannot charge interest more than the capital. Under money lending ordinance, you cannot charge interest more than the capital. Right? So then the money lenders, how they do? They won't recover the capital. They keep on charging interest. Even now it's happening now. Local money lenders, they won't take the capital amount. Street lenders, what they do? They collect the due date and they come and collect the interest. So if it's 20% interest mean within 5 months the capital has been recovered. But still they have to pay the interest. The capital amount will remain the same. Right? Now these two are not applied to the banks and financial institutions. Debt conciliation ordinance and money lending ordinance, both are not applicable, not shall apply or in relation to an institution. So I mean, we discussed in chapter 2. Banks, specialized bank, financial institutions. No institution, this will be, so we are protected from that, these two ordinance under the Recovery Act. What else? Any debtor of institution dies. Any debtor of an institution dies before the institution of an action, or any defaulter dies after the institution of action. Court may serve as a notice upon the probate or last will. Section 27. මොකද ඒ කියන්නේ? මරුණත් ඉන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ උට. Recovery Act එකේ judgment එක, if he dies, that will be applies to his last will. See how much of benefits given under this act to the financial institution to recover their money. If the customer dies even, right? In all other cases, if the customer dies, what happens? All other cases, customer's case is over thereafter. So we have to file a separate action against the legal heirs to go for recovery. Or we have to take legal action, file action for exemption of mortgage. We have to file action in the courts, get the court to seize the asset and dispose and do the recovery. Because we can't do we can't do marriage. So this is very important. Any debtor of an institution dies before the institution of an action, or any defaulter dies after the institution of action, this will be applied to his last will. Service notice upon the probate or the last will. අන්තිම කැමති පත්‍රය ඒකටත් මේ නීති බලපාන. So wide range of benefits given under the Recovery Act. how we, that's what we are very pathetic. What extent we are using this. The main problem is our documents are weak. We cannot go to, mostly I cannot take action on the Electrical Act because our documents are weak. So documentation is one of the crucial factors in our recovery. We have to understand that. Very important. We have to understand that. Okay, so let's see what are the other benefits given in the Debt Recovery Act. Any person, it's Section 25 of the Debt Recovery Special Provision Act number 2 of 1990. Now see different areas given for this one. Any person who draws a check knowing that there's no funds or not sufficient funds in the bank to honor such check. චෙක් පත නිකුත් කරනවා නම් මුදල් නොමැති බව එහෙම නැත්නම් මුදල් නොමැති බව දැන චෙක් එක නිකුත් කරනවා නම් draws a check knowing that there's no funds or no sufficient funds in the bank to honor such check, or makes an order a banker to pay a sum of money which payment is not made by a reason of being no obligation of such banker to make payment or by reason of payment having been countermanded. Check පත්‍රක ගෙවීම නැවතුත් මුදල් නැමැතුව check පත්‍රක ගෙවීම නැවතුත් simply says that, right? Making a stop payment, countermanded stop payment, making a stop payment without funds, issuing a check without funds, making a stop payment without funds is a shall be a guilty of an offence under this act, and shall conviction by magistrate after summary trial will be liable to punishment with the imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 1 year or with fine of 10,000 rupees or 10% of the full value of the check. 1 year rigorous imprisonment or 10% of the value of the check has to be paid as a penalty. Right? Issuing a check, making a stop payment of a check without fund is a criminal offence. Check order. Authority in Inland Revenue will respect to which offence committed with a higher or both such fine and the imprisonment. Then again, this can be applied for some, it has been extended in this section C, gives an authority and institution to pay a sum of money to itself. Gives an authority and institution to pay a sum of money to itself in payment of debt or a loan, to settle a loan or a loan installment, issuing a check by the customer, any part thereof owed to such institution from and out from an account maintained or funds deposited by such person with such institution, and such institution is unable to make such payment to itself. Unable to make such payment to itself. By reason of such person not placing adequate funds in such account or by reason funds deposited having been withdrawn by reason of the such person, countermanding the authority by given the reason of one or more such is. Check stop payment කරන්න මුදල් තැන්පත් කුදල් withdraw කරලා තියෙනවා නම් check මුදල් නොමැතිව check එක නිකුත් කරලා තියෙනවා නම් මොනවටද loan installment එක ගෙවන්න. Any part there are on to the such institution. Bank a loan installment එක ගෙවන්න check එකක් collect කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක default කරත් මේ යටතේ නඩු දාන්න පුළුවන්. Bank can produce that check to the police, fraud bureau will arrest the customer and go to the courts, and magistrate courts, we have to prove that this customer is issue the check without funds. Then sorry. Anyway, so those are the very, very important salient features under the Debt Recovery Act. So, we discuss in the deep, lengthily. What are the points we have to take into consideration when we discuss about the Debt Recovery Act? Okay, right. Next one. Now, I think we don't I don't think need a break. You can continue with that. Tired? Angela tired? Got to never again. Huh? Okay, shall we continue?
We are there, sir. We are there.
Yeah, there's some more there to discuss, right? So little more, little more. Okay, right. Next one is recovery action in a case of a death of a borrower. Okay, put the handout again. It's not given the handout. Take a guru mustema cutting can really. Okay, in the case of a death of a customer, right? How to make the recovery? Now, the legal procedure. What is the legal procedure when a customer dies, borrower dies? Right? Basically, the contract between the bank and the customer, or the lending institution and the customer ceases. The contract between lending institution and the borrower ceases. Right? Even it is a joint account or a partnership, the contract is ceased. Now, therefore, when the contract is ceased, we cannot charge interest on the customer. When the contract is ceased, we cannot charge interest on the customer. So we have to take quick action to make recovery. Otherwise, it's lost to the customer bank. Immediate action has to be taken. Now let's see. We take different what you call securities, collaterals. Now let's discuss one by one. What action we have to take? First one is in the case of a cash security. That means savings account, fixed deposits, NRFC balances where the cash is available with us. When a customer dies, right? When the contract is ceased, we can immediately uplift the facility, the deposit, and try to recover. We should not wait till the legal has come and claim. No. By the time we lose the interest for that period, and we have to pay interest for the deposit. Keep in mind that we cannot claim the interest, whereas we have to pay the interest to the deposit. Therefore, immediately it has to be uplifted and has to be recovered. Okay. Any cash security, savings, right? In the case of a joint account, again same position. In the case of a joint account, in the case of a same position, the contract is going to ceased. Then the balance money is going to holding the joint account. Balance money is going to the living partner. Right? Therefore, now we have to make a claim from them. Either you have to make a fresh loan with that individual customer or try to recover it immediately. If they are not coming for asking for a facility, we can recover that amount because the contract is ceased, we can recover. Okay, that is the two options, individual account or a joint account. If next step, we'll discuss different type of organizations, how to party diseases, how to apply. Right now, partnership, sole proprietorship will go for the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietor dies, it is same as an individual account. We have to take action as they are taking action for individual person. Right? Any cash security, immediately we have to cover. Any other security will go in the normal procedure as individual customer. Partnership, when a partner dies, right? The partnership is dissolved, has to be dissolved, and fresh account has to be opened and continue the account. Then we have to get into a fresh agreement with the surviving parties to continuation of the facility. Okay, facility has no need not to be paid off. We can continue the facility, and fresh document has to be signed with the new partnership. That's it for a partnership. How we are going to apply? Documents to be fresh documents has to be taken with the new partnership, existing partners. If they are not coming for a that type of settlement, then we can go for a recovery. Immediately we can dispose it, depending on the security. A director of the company dies. Okay, that's no problem because the company is a separate legal entity. Company is a separate legal entity. Director dies means it doesn't have an impact on the company. Two separate legal entities. So this was decided, Solomon versus Solomon Limited, very important case. Very long time before 1893 it was decided. Therefore, that action, there's no action cannot be taken because the company is there as a legal partner. So, new directors has to be appointed and they are liable to the company and company has to pay. We don't know recovery needed to be, so loan can be continued. Similarly, when you come for a normally if your loans granted for other organizations also, companies are the most important, and there's no other no trade unions and no organizations. We are not granting any facilities, therefore it won't be a problem on that. But if you got any facility or cash securities, it can be continued with a new resolution passed by the members for a such organization, that is clubs and societies. Okay, that's all. Right. Then next is one near cash. Near cash means, we discussed earlier, is company shares, debentures, treasury bills, treasury bonds, unit trust. These are we are considered as near cash. When a customer this dies where the security is near cash, okay, if it's an individual customer, it dies, we can immediately sell this near cash by putting to the market. Put into the market, we can sell it off and recover the money. There's no problem of even if I defaulted, do the same way. We can sell the this one in our name. They are taken to our transaction, so we have right to sell those things in the what to call a separate that particular instrument in the market. Next comes to recovery of life insurance policies. When you have taken a life insurance policy of as collateral, individual normally we take, not jointly. If a customer dies, right, we have to claim the money from the insurance company, producing the original deed and the deed of assignment and the death certificate of the customer. We have to make a claim to the insurance company. So whatever the insurance company will pay immediately the full value of the insurance policy in the death of a customer, according to the agreement, the bank, the legal assignment. So all these are very easily we can recover. We don't have to wait for the legal action to be taken. Right. Next action comes to whenever case, this is a mortgage, immovable or immovable, mortgage, right? So we can do parrot. If it's over 5 million, we can take parrot. But if the customer dies, the parrot action has to be suspended. Parrot action has to be suspended. Then we have to file action in the courts. To implement the mortgage bond, right? So get the property, implement the mortgage bond and try to recover that amount. So normally we go up to that point. If their legal heirs are not coming forward to settle the facility and translate that to their name as a new facility, we can transfer that or can be done, no problem. If their legal heirs come forward for a settlement, then we negotiate with them without going for courts and try to grant a facility to them and try to recover this facility, okay, and then extend the mortgage under their name. Cancel the mortgage, issue a fresh mortgage. Right? So that can be done if the customers, if anybody come forward with the legal heirs to settle the facility or to continue the facility. So we can negotiate. But if there's no negotiation, then only we have to go to courts, ask to dispose the asset, whatever asset given to the mortgage, under the mortgage bond, to dispose it and recover the money. Okay, so these are action we can take if a customer dies. Because the contract is over, therefore we have no other way other than going to courts to recover. We cannot take action against the deceased person's property. It's not allowed. But under the Debt Recovery Act number 2 of 1990, if the customer dies, right, it can be continued because their provisions are made in the act itself. We can continue the last will of the customer. Right? Now, these are the complications situation when it comes for recovery of this in different situations. Okay, so those are the legal actions available to recover. Right, now we'll get back to our structure and I given to you the process of recovery. Can you remember steps involved in recovery? First step is we discussed supervision, monitoring, and follow-up. Then find early warning signals, then cause of default. Then we have to go for action. Then the action situation we discussed one by one. The actions we discussed. But first action we discussed is rehabilitation of facilities. Then go for settlement. Go for compromise settlement. Then you go for legal, what you call legal action, movables and immovables, recovery of parade, then go for legal action. Now finally, we come to another two more stages are available. We're discussing that two more stages. One is do nothing. There are certain instances we cannot take any action. Then we have to wait and see. It's called do nothing. That's the other option. What instances we have to take this do nothing action? What are the instances we have to go for do nothing action? Where the market is completely failed, it can be reviewed later. Temporarily, market is collapsed. So, can you remember viability analysis? Customer is viable, market is failed temporarily, but collateral is available. There are certain instances when the market is temporarily failed, we cannot go for any action because there's no recovery, money is not coming in to recover. Therefore, we cannot take any action. So, market is failed, we cannot liquidate the asset also. There's nobody come forward to buy because there's no market to sell. Therefore, nobody is coming to buy the asset. But customer is with us. In such instances, we take action, postpone the recovery. Now, what is the version of Corona? COVID-19 situation, what we have done. So, this is beyond our control, no? Beyond our control, all the businesses have been temporarily collapsed. Till it revive, can you recover? This is COVID-19, a good example now. Earlier I gave the example is our tea industry. when the market is failed, there's no way of recovery. We have to tell the market is coming up. Till we have to wait and see, because there's no way of disposing the asset or take parity action or money action or whatever action is not successful because there's no market to sell. No one will buy to come and buy. So same situation we are facing now in this COVID-19 situation. With the COVID-19 situation, entire economy, entire market, entire thing has been suspended. So that's why the government given 6 months moratorium. 6 months moratorium given because of that, till it comes back to normal. Until such time, we cannot do any recovery. So defaults are there. So we have to suspend the default also. So automatically, system this automatically this is transferred into NPA after installment in arrears. So we have to make provision not to transfer NPA and retain the regular section till 6 months till the moratorium is over. So present position is we are facing this situation. Do nothing, we can't do anything. Because this is beyond our control, beyond the customer's control, beyond the bank's control. Such instances, we have to wait and see. We have to wait till the things are coming back to normal. Sometimes it may take longer than 6 months. Now, this 6 months moratorium given by the government. Moratorium given by the government. You heard that our president has been giving thoroughly shelling at the central bank. The circulars are not issued properly. Even not given proper instruction to the bank. So the proper instruction should be given to the bank how to, the procedure has to be given very clearly, it has to follow. Otherwise, each bank, different bank will be interpreted in different way and customers will have a problem. Therefore, we have to follow uniform practice in this type of a situation for the banks. So it is careful, you have to understand that this customer is defaulting not with his willing. It is because of the circumstances beyond his control, because of environmental factors. If the COVID-19 issues settled, now we try to open the economy and all these things, okay, well and done. But still, for all we know that businesses are not up to standard to repay the facilities. So we have to wait and see, not as a whole, as a block, each and every customer separately. Each and every customer separately. Some customers may have recovered now, by now. They opened their business has started, continuous business is going on, or sales are there. Therefore, that customers we can do recovery. Then there are certain customers, they are still not built up. So we cannot apply a general principle like the government given the moratorium. You can't give that. You have to very carefully, you have to see each and every customer separately and apply this principle very carefully. Moratorium. Right? So that is do nothing, what you call policy principle to apply when you recovery. So it is very carefully and see that it is beyond the customer's control and it's short term, it's not a long term. Right? It's a long term failure, what we discussed in the last what you call amicable settlement, what you call the government policy of taking out properties to government and that state sector setup, that is permanent. So that type of situation, we don't know what will happen in the future. New changes taking place. Mostly some of the policies, sometimes we may see that Mrs. Bandana immediate policies for some time may be coming forward for certain things. So anyway, we'll see, let us see how best is changing. Now certain imports are banned. So those import customers are now directly affecting. Vehicle importers are completely affected. 6 months there's no vehicle import, but they are now vehicle marketing. Therefore, they can pay back their loan. By the existing vehicle, they can sell it off, and the existing loan they can pay. So you monitor carefully those customers, and not all. Right? So that's why this principle of do nothing can be usually applied. Right? Next option we are coming with the final one is writing off. Or normally we call this write off the facilities. or we call book out the facilities. Now, earlier we saw write-off means if the customer or the borrower unable to pay, capital and interest unable to pay, then our final option is, if we cannot keep in our books, we have to write it off. We don't want to keep unproductive assets or non-performing assets in the books. It will affect our balance sheet. It will affect the bank's ROA, return on asset, because the fixed asset, the non-performing assets are high, where no income is coming in. Therefore, our ROA will come down. That will affect our future investment and all. Therefore, we should not keep anything non-performing asset. Therefore, we have to write it off. Now, this writing off means those days we used to, entire amount has been written off to the P&L and make it zero. Right. Now, thing is how to apply this procedure. What are the procedure? Now, whenever you find that the loan is not recoverable, whatever action you have taken, for example, you have taken file action, then the courts also, you lost the case. There's no way of recovery. Or there are certain facilities, there's no collateral. And the customer also, whereabout you cannot find out, and income is not cannot be proved, you cannot take any action because the documents, there's no documents for you to take action. The final option is to write off on the books. To write off on the books, you have no authority. You can write off, you have waive off interest. That's delegate authority given for managers, waive off of interest. That interest component can be waived off, some fully or partly, an authority given in the delegate authority. But for writing off, there's no delegate authority, it is only with the board of directors. Therefore, you have to prepare a memo to the board to get the approval for write-off. You have to get a memorandum prepared to do the write-off. Right? Now, in the memorandum, you have to give the details about who have granted the facility, who have recommended the facility, who have been appraised the facility, what are the collaterals taken by you, and what action taken by you to recover, what are why actions have failed in recovery. All this information you have to provide to the court. Board will not immediately, whenever paper is put to the board and they are not immediately said, "Abhi kolan me recover karana veruna ni, pauni gila kapala hari no, never." They investigate everything and see any malpractice or negligence in granting this facility. The board will carefully analyze the case and try to find out any negligence on the part of the employees who had granted this facility. So sometimes they may ask back who have recommended this facility, who appraised this facility, right? Likewise, who person approved, person have recommended, appraised, analyzed the information. All these things they'll call back. And after that, they found if this write-off is a genuine case, there's no way of recovery, then the board will may give the authority. Board may approve that to do the write-off. Okay. Sometimes we may find it is may come as a circling to you. Sometimes we found that granting while you approved this facility, granted this facility violating the bank regulations. If you have done it negligently, so it will highlight your position, and board will ask the management to take action against you also sometime. So writing off is not a good favorable thing for us. And also sometimes it may go affect our career also sometime. Well, so if you are not, that is very careful, you have to prepare your memorandum without doing any commitments yourself. Right. Second part is, once your customer, the board is approved, for a write-off of the full amount of capital, then you have to do a book write-off. The entire amount to be debited to P&L. Now, there are certain things can take place in the past. Now, after writing off the facility, there are certain conditions. You cannot entertain that customer for any other facility. Thereafter, that customer is blacklisted, even waiver of interest or a capital amount. We discussed this one in this waiver of interest, that rehabilitation. Under that, we discussed, right? In an interest waiver or a capital write-off, if you are given a concession to the customer, that customer will not be considered. That is a end, final. They are not considering anything else. We can't go considering that customer anymore. Therefore, that customer's name all will be there in the crib forever. After writing off, that will be there in the crib. It will not be erased off. So we cannot intervene that customer's name. But sometimes you may find, if you're written off customers let alone, after some time, he may have done the business and he have come across positively, and he has developed himself and business has developed, and now he is coming for facilities subsequently. Now, what is your position? Can you accommodate that customer after, for example, after 10 years? I'll give an example. There was a case for me. One of the customers have borrowed a facility to do a poultry farming. Sometime back, it's about 1980s. He had borrowed this money for to do a poultry farm, 50,000 rupees, and he defaulted. He didn't pay off. And those days we didn't have a crib and only internal records. Then this customer went to Japan and started business in India and tried to export vehicles from there. And after about 10 years, he had come back to Sri Lanka and he started importing vehicles and spare parts and doing very, very well. Now he had accounts with other banks because there's no crib at that time. Therefore, this default has not been recorded anywhere. The crib was started in 1980s, 1990. Then this particular customer came to the particular bank. He wanted to come back and again start a business, and he opened an account, and without any hesitation, he opened an account because he's doing business very well, and he asked for a facility subsequently. Then, when we look at the proposal and the accounts and the history of transaction, seem to be a very good customer and is very good income, can be considered. Luckily, one of my minor staff member, who was very senior person, he came to me and told, after this person left, "Sir, Kali loan ya karan default kala diye." I said, "There's no record." Well, after that, he came with me, went to the record room, dig all the old ledger sheets and found that this case. He found that this customer had defaulted earlier and we had written off that loan. That customer can't be there anymore. So I brought this to customer when he come back and they told that you have been defaulted earlier. He said, "No, you have taken 50,000 of poultry farming and you have not paid that sometime back." A couple of months outside. Now, what is the argument? There's no any record in this about his liability. Because we are making zero. After making zero, can we claim it? That's a legal point. When you he is blacklisted, he cannot enter in because he's not a good customer. But we cannot prove it. Go against that because there's no record in our system. Now we have the crib. So, but I said, no, we cannot, if you are paying the full amount that outstanding, I'll consider this facility. And anyway he agreed he came for a larger facility. Then he reopened that paid written off loan and settled that entire amount. So the entire amount was a profit, so he will make his profit, and then they considered. Now, such situations, what is our position? Such situation, what is our position? So therefore, now we are not doing write-offs. We are not doing write-off. But whenever it comes to write-off, we keep 1 rupee as nominal value in the account. We keep 1 rupee and keep his liability ledger right throughout the organization, because whenever he come back, we can recall that this is there. That 1 rupee outstanding will be, we can call it back. So therefore, now we are doing book out, not written off. We are book out the facility and keeping 1 rupee balance in the ledger sheet, and that will be remaining for lifetime. It's a clip. So that will be recorded in our history. Okay, right. That's all about our session. This is the final day and final session and final minute. We have completed the entire course to now, and even the recovery module they completed. And right, and for no next 60, I think your exam is scheduled. I think we have already given, I think, the number dates. I have not gone through what are the dates I given for the examination. Right. So, any questions? Yeah. Any questions? Can you hear me?
No questions.
No questions. Okay, questions will be on the question paper. Okay. Right. Then I think hopefully wish you all the best and good luck. And I hope that this course will assist you for your career development. And this advanced diploma is one of these diploma what we designed for an advanced level of thinking on policy making and other level. So anyway, that those who have go through carefully, and you may be able to develop your career in this field. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a good night for you all. I wish you all the best.